everyone and welcome back to my channel. So as you guys know, a bit more than 1 month ago I finished my architecture studies. I presented my diploma and now I'm an architect, and I made a video, a vlog about the whole process of my diploma, and a lot of you sent me messages asking more things about my studies, about architecture, about the difference between studying in Portugal and studying in Norway. So I decided that this was a really good idea for a video. So here I am making the video. I will also be putting on the video some old photos of me since I've started my architecture studies. So let's start with the way of getting into the university. So in Portugal, basically when you go to high school, you have to choose the area of studies. So for example, if you want to be a doctor, you would go into the science area in high school. I went to the arts area, but I could have gone to the science area as well. That would lead me to architecture either way. And then when you go to university, basically you have, I think, 4 main courses that certain universities ask you. So for me it was drawing, geometry, history of arts, and Portuguese. This was my 4 subjects to get into the university, where they checked my grades, and then depending on your grade you are accepted or not into the university. I went to a private university. They still ask you for the grade, but it's normally lower, and of course you pay more in fees, which is a big difference from Norway, the fee things, because in Portugal you pay a lot more. Even in a public school you would pay more than in Norway, where the system, like the school system, is basically for free. Then in Norway it's a little bit different, and it really differs from school to school. So what I've heard is that in some schools you just go to an interview or you make certain exams, and there's also universities who only ask you for your portfolio, your CV, some work you can do at home and show them. It really depends on which university you want to go in. And I'm talking only about architecture. I have no idea how it is in other areas of studies. Regarding the school itself, in Portugal, my private school was very small. It was like in the city center. We were not a lot of students, but I really liked that. And I think it's the same thing as here, the university in Oslo is like right in the city center. It's like secluded. It doesn't have any other universities around it. Other schools in Portugal, for example, the public schools, are in like a student village or a school village. When I studied in Trondheim here in Norway, it was just like that. So it was a huge school village with a lot of different buildings for every other professional studies. My first year experience was in Portugal. When I got into the university, at the beginning our class was like 120 people, I'm not even kidding, and at the end of that year we were like 40. A lot of people give up because they realized it was not really what they were expecting. They changed their mind and moved to another university. So yeah, we shrinked a bit in the first year. And the first year in Portugal is mainly experimenting and discovering architecture. So they would give you all of this very weird but cool exercises you have to do. Like everyone had to make a structure with 2 or 3 floors in the structure, and then we all came together and built a massive structure. We also made a lot of simple paper models with this colorful paper. We also built a cabinet, and every group had to build a room with recycled or like garbage materials. We also changed the corridor of the school to a different height, and we used boxes with a lot of strings attached to the ceiling. In Norway, to be completely honest with you, I have no idea what the first year students do. So if you studied architecture or are studying architecture in Norway, just comment down below how was your first year in architecture and what type of things you do. Regarding the amount of courses and classes we have and the type of courses we can choose or not, in Portugal we cannot choose any course. So if you go into the university, you have those like listed courses, and those are the ones you take, and there are normally a lot of them. I had 6 or 7 per semester, so I had drawing, geometry, mathematics, physics, statics, technical drawing, projects. Yeah, those are 7 already, yeah. Whilst in Norway, it's quite different because you can choose your courses, and there are so many different ones, and you can choose even courses from other types of architecture, from landscape, from design, interior design, and you can choose the ones you are more interested in and create yourself your group of courses that you are going to be an expert in, which I think is very, very good in a way. In another way, it's not so good because all of the subjects you don't really like, you can choose not to take them, and then you will never learn that, and it could be important for you. Oh, and in Norway you have less subjects. In my master's I could choose 3, and then you have more time to work on those specific subjects, you know, to go really deep on it, to concentrate on those subjects. Whilst in Portugal you just look like a headless chicken, just running around, trying to survive, trying to finish all the courses, and not really have time to go deep or invest in the more important ones. In Portugal, they would expect you to work in school from really early until late at night. I would do that so many times. And in Norway is a bit more human and you can actually have a life while you study. Another thing is when you arrive to the university, normally there's like a welcoming party. In Norway, they do that. They just receive all the new students, introduce them to the school, have some little games so they can know each other. In Portugal, you have something called praxes, and when you arrive, you are called a caloiro. Basically, it's this very old tradition where older students, they would dress up with these black costumes. I think Harry Potter, like clothes from the Hogwarts school, are inspired on this clothes we wear in Portugal for school. So basically it's this black suit. Girls wear a skirt, boys wear trousers, and then we have a black cape. And when you are new and you arrive, they make you go through a lot of like physical exercises that normally are very stupid, a bit bully sometimes. It depends how you see it. On my second year of university in Portugal, it was more about group work. So we would do this huge models or huge planning in group. Sometimes it was the whole class doing it together. I have no idea how it is in Norway. Basically, I don't know much about the bachelor in Norway, to be honest. Regarding models and how we make them, in Portugal, it was everything by hand. We had no workshops in my school, and I don't think I know any school of architecture, at least in Lisbon, that had a workshop. We would have to buy everything ourselves and build literally with our hands, cut everything by hand. Specifically, my university really liked to build concrete models, so it was crazy. We would just build these huge concrete models and we would cast everything by hand. The models don't look as good as they should, and it's a lot of work and a lot of money. Whilst in Norway, it's completely different. You have huge workshops full of material that either is free, like in Trondheim was free, or it's like quite cheap and you can buy. And then you have all of this professional machines that you are taught to use as soon as you entered school. Yeah, it was like heaven. After coming from Portugal and having a workshop in Norway was like, oh. In 3rd grade, so the last year in my bachelor degree, you are asked to work in pairs in Portugal, at least in my university. So you can start learning to work more as a team in an office. And now I'm talking about grades, because in Portugal grades are so important, and who has the biggest, like the highest grade is normally known on the school. Grades is basically all you think about. You just do things to have the best grade ever. In Norway though, you don't have a grade, it's just pass or fail. In Trondheim you had A, B, C, this kind of thing, but it's not that important. You don't need grades to get a job after. No one will ask you for your grade. Yeah, it's just pass or fail. The presentations in Portugal are very formal. So the whole class is there, and there in front there's your teachers, that's normally 2 or 3, and then they invite a guest teacher, and you have all of this big panels with the models in front, and you present your work. In Norway is basically the same thing. That's something that I found was really similar in both countries. I just think that the teachers in Portugal are a bit more critical on your work than the ones in Norway. It's similar, but in Portugal is a bit more, could be very harsh. I cried in some presentations in Portugal. Yeah, so something that happens a lot in Norway and not so much in Portugal. So some courses after the presentation would gather all the work and make an exhibition about it. So people from the outside, like your family or other people at the school, can come in and see what you have been working on. Regarding traveling while you study, in Norway it's quite common that every course has a theme, and that theme is related to a specific place, which is normally outside Norway, and that means you would have to travel to that place in a certain time of the year, or the semester in this case. You would go with the whole class and your teacher to a certain country and walk around, see architecture, or go to the specific place where you're working in your course. And that sometimes can be very expensive, because some places can be in like Chile or New York or China, you know, and then you have to pay it for yourself, and it's obligatory on the course. So if you register to that specific course and you know it's going to be in China, then you know you have to start putting money aside to go to China. In Portugal, in the bachelor, you don't travel a lot outside, you do it more inside Portugal. In the masters, for example, we went to Amsterdam because our project was in Amsterdam, so I think you travel a little bit more, but not as dramatic as in Norway. During my studies, I also was part of some workshops, which I really liked. Every year my school made this workshop in poor areas of Portugal. In Norway, I also know they make a lot of workshops. I never was a part of one. A thing that I really miss about the university in Portugal is that we used to go a lot to construction sites, to visit construction sites, to learn how they actually build stuff. However, in Norway, you actually build more in like reality. So for example, in my course in Trondheim, we build a one-to-one, so like in reality size, a corner of a beam structure that would join to a joint, basically a wood joint. Even in Oslo, here in the university, they have this huge room outside, this like workshop, where some courses actually build houses inside there. The last thing I will talk about is the diploma. In Portugal, the diploma is a huge, very important thing. Everyone is a little bit afraid of it, and it's both written, so we make an actual book, written book, and it's also with images in a slideshow, in a presentation, and also a lot of models. In Norway, it's normally just the presentation and the models, as you saw in my vlog about my diploma. In Portugal, it's a whole year, and sometimes you have to ask for another year to do it. So some people do it in 2 years. And in Norway, it's 1 semester pre-diploma where you research your theme, and then another semester just working on your diploma. I think the diploma in Portugal is much harder, and in Norway is more fun, it's more relaxed. I think there was everything. I'm sure there's more things to talk about, but I can't remember anything else. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a massive thumbs up, and do not forget to subscribe to my channel if you're not already. And let me know, let us all know in the comments down below, what do you think about the university in Norway or in your own country? And yeah, just share with us everything. I will see you guys next week with another video. Bye!